Can you all see me and hear me okay now? Yeah? Okay, unless I hear otherwise, I'll carry on. So for those of you that haven't been to one of these classes before, obviously the class is live over Zoom. So if you could please make sure that your microphone is muted at the moment, so that there is no echo in the transmission. But if you do want to ask a question at any stage, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask the question, or you can type the question in the chat. Okay. Now, before we start, there is something that I need to ask you, because this is obviously we're doing pizza, and the dough of the pizza obviously needs to rise. I sent everybody early this morning. I sent everybody an email with a link to a video to show you how to prepare the dough and get it ready for the class. So I just wanted to know if you know how many of you have managed to prepare the dough, or do you need to show you how it's done as well?
Just those that have done it. Put it
So,
in the chat. Just the ones that have done it.
Yes. Can you please, if you've done it, can you just like type it in the chat? Yes. So that at least we know how many.
Got the dough ready. Stephanie's got the dough ready. Okay,
so we got Stephanie. Stephanie has got the dough ready. If you haven't done it, just still type in the chat no. So at least we know roughly how many of each type we have. Because I could show you how to prepare it, but obviously it needs time. It needs time to rise. So you can either watch me prepare it, or if you want to do it with me, you would have had to do this preparation work. So have we got any more feedback? No?
Just lots of people saying no.
Okay.
Uma have dough ready, but used a semolina type dough since there was no 00 flour in the super. Oh, there was 00 flour in the supermarket. Okay. So Uma's using a semolina type.
That's fine. So we got two. They've got the dough ready. How many? Any more?
That's it. And Sue is asking, is the prep on another recording? Yes, it is.
Yes, I have put the prep on the YouTube channel, and I sent a link this morning to everybody that bought a ticket before this morning. So Sue, I'm not sure if you got your admission this morning. Probably you would have missed that. You would have missed that message. But what I'll do now.
Would the prep video remain available? That's from Catherine.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. It will remain available to everybody. It's on the YouTube channel, so you can access it at any time.
And Carol said she didn't get an email, had to register with Eventbrite several times to get the link. So I don't know what happened there. Okay,
Carol, did you register this morning by any chance? Because I sent out an email like about 6:30 this morning with the link and with all the preparation.
Yeah, I had to re-register this morning because I just didn't get anything. I registered a couple of days ago, but it's a bit of a disaster. But I've got you today, so that's all that matters.
Sorry, we can't. It's very, very faint. We can't hear you for some reason. So if you just got to this morning, I said you probably would have missed the email. But don't worry. I mean, what we can do, just do very quickly. I'll prepare some dough for you, so you can see how it's done. And then obviously we got to do like as I did earlier, like 2 hours earlier, because I prepared this now for 9:30, and then we can progress with the one that is ready to be used. What you can do, I mean, if you are doing it now, you can try, if you want to follow through, you can do a quick using more yeast, and we can maybe join us for the second. We're gonna be doing two separate pizzas, so you'll be ready for the second one maybe, although it might not have risen completely. Okay, let's prepare one then. Let's see how the dough is prepared, and I will show you. So I'll just scale here so I can measure everything. I need to get some water. We need about 300 ml of lukewarm water. So really just like So just about at room temperature. Then I will need 10 grams of salt. Well, let's get this chaos ready, which is going to be just about 1 teaspoon, 1 heaped teaspoon, roughly. Okay, so 10 grams of salt there, ready. Then we will need 35 grams of extra virgin olive oil. Olive oil is measured in grams rather than in milliliters, because depending on the thickness, the weight varies. Okay, so we'll measure 35 grams. There we are, of olive oil. Then I will need some yeast. I'm using live yeast. I'll be using 5 grams of live yeast. If you're using dry, then you only need about half of that amount. But if we want to accelerate this, if you're using dry yeast, you can put in a whole bag, and that will accelerate the process. So they can maybe you're ready to bake with us in the second part of the lesson. Okay, so it's not a lot, just a little bit more. Okay, that's 5 grams of yeast. Excuse me for a second, I'm going to put this back in the fridge. Okay, and then the last thing we need is the flour. Okay, so we put the yeast aside. We need 300 grams of, generally this is why I'm using Italian. If you can't find all flour, I mean this will do, Italian all-purpose flour, which is not exactly the all, but coconut. We need 300 grams of this. About 10 grams short. And we need 200 grams of strong red flour. Okay. So in total, you should have about 500 grams of flour. Okay, so let's set the scale as well. The first thing we will do, we just put a little bit of the water in with the yeast. And we'll just make sure it's all mixed and dissolved in the water. Okay, it's done. Now I'll be doing things so you can show. I'll be doing things with my right hand. I got all the ingredients on my left, so I can show you exactly what we're doing. Okay, we're doing this by hand. Obviously, if you have machine that can do that, you can do that as well. But obviously, I want to show you the easiest. Obviously, the easiest way without needing any particular machines to do these things. We can all be done by hand. So I'll get the yeast and just pour it in. I'll start mixing gently by hand. And now I'll mix some of the water. I'll use about half the water in there. This is probably my favorite part, you know, as kind of like all boys, I like getting stuck in, getting a bit dirty. You add the water a little bit at a time. Starting to come together now to form a kind of like a paste. When you put about half the water in, you can now add salt. Again, carry on adding water. Sorry?
Good for your muscles.
Good for the muscles, yes. In fact, I mean, if you've noticed, you know, the guys that make the pizzas in the restaurant, they normally are quite strong, you know, with big muscles. Okay. Put the rest of the water in. Keep making sure that we absorb, you know, the rest of the flour that's left in the bowl. Okay, now we can start adding the oil again, a little bit at a time. Also help to unstick all this stuff on my hand. Starting now to come together. Okay, add a little bit of oil. Keep repeating this thing and kneading until also the oil is absorbed. Adding a little bit at a time. Almost ready now to transfer it onto. Oops. Okay, well, it doesn't matter, it goes all in there anyway. So, finish the last little bit of the oil. Make sure really that the bowl is clean, so they got no flour left. in the bowl. Normally, the last little bit of oil will need to be. I was going to add it onto the. Once I transfer everything onto here, but it doesn't matter. It's gone on. It's gone on the table anyway. So and now make sure I knead it for a few minutes. So it's all clinging to my hands, nice and sticky. Don't want to waste any of this precious dough. So pretty much another minute and it's pretty much ready. Okay, so this is the first phase, pretty much done. So we turn it into kind of like a little bit of a bowl, like this. Okay, so the first phase done. What we do then, we cover it and we let it rest for about 10 minutes. Okay, now if you just give me a second, I'm just going to wash my hands. Okay. Now, let me just put the timer on so at least I can see where we are. Okay, so while we're waiting for that to rest for a little while, in the meantime, let's go through the other ingredients that we'll need for today. So I'll be cooking 3 different types of pizza. One is something that I'm not sure probably that unless you've been to Italy, I'm not sure if you have tried, if you've tasted this before. There'll be pizza with potatoes. Sounds a funny combination, but it's absolutely fantastic because there will be just pizza, potatoes, and rosemary on the top. And the potatoes, by cooking, they're basically uncooked and cut very finely. And then by cooking, they create kind of like a creamy layer on top of the pizza. And the pizza is crunchy at the base, so it's a really lovely combination. Then we'll do the traditional kind of like margherita type pizza with tomatoes.
From food VJ to everyone lost volume.
Sorry, you lost volume. Can you all still hear me? Sorry, can I just have a little bit of feedback? Is some
He's asking everybody else if they've lost the volume because he has.
Can everybody confirm if you can hear me or not? Because DJ apparently has lost volume, so I'm not sure if you can.
Yeah, Uma, Stephanie, and yeah, they can hear.
Okay, so they can all hear me. Just Vijay, just in case.
Catherine, they can all hear.
You might have maybe muted the feed for some reason. But it's not. I mean, everybody else can still hear. So I hope you can sort it out. Otherwise, I mean, we'll be posting the recording anyway, both on the YouTube channel and on the Facebook page. So you'll be able to follow that to follow along later. Okay, let's carry on. So I was saying it would be like a traditional kind of a margherita pizza, which also with a tomato base and lots of dried herbs, and finish with fresh basil and cheese on top. And the third one, again, it's a different type of pizza, which is kind of like a dessert one. So we start by baking a white pizza, so just a plain one, and then we finish it off with chocolate and whipped cream. Normally, the original recipe will have a chocolate spread and ricotta cheese, but obviously there isn't quite. I haven't found an equivalent yet, a vegan equivalent to ricotta cheese. So we'll be doing this with plant-based cream that I managed to find from Elmlea, and you can find in most supermarkets. So those are the three things that we do. And while we're waiting for that to be ready, let's start getting the other ingredients ready. So I have for the margherita pizza, I have basically chopped tomatoes in a tin. We don't need anything more fancy than that.
How long do you leave this for?
10 minutes. We're waiting for 10 minutes. Okay, so that's resting for 10 minutes, and then we'll be. I'll show you what we do, and we'll place it to rise. Okay. So we put the chopped tomatoes in a tin, or in a bowl. And then we will add a teaspoon of salt. Okay, just a normal teaspoon, not particularly heat. So salt, and we'll add 1 tablespoon of oregano. That's what it's called in Italy. I know you call it oregano, probably. So a nice tablespoon, or if you don't have oregano, you can use mixed herbs. It's close enough. And just mix it. Just mix it together. Yes, that was a good question. Who asked that question? Katerina asked, are you going to drain the tomatoes? Which is a very good question, because this is what I'm going to do in a minute. This is what I'll do it after I've added the salt, because the salt naturally drains, absorb water. So will cause the tomatoes that are still in pieces to shed some of their water. Okay, so after I added it, I'll let it rest for about 10 minutes. And then what we'll do, I'll use a sieve to actually drain the tomatoes and get rid of some of the water. Otherwise, what happens is that when we put it on the base of the pizza in the middle will go soggy, and it won't cook properly.
Rosalie wants to know whether you can use fresh oregano, chopped oregano.
Yes, Rosalie, that's you can use fresh oregano as well. Yeah, that's even more delicious. And then we'll need some fresh basil to go on top, and we'll add that right at the end. Okay, so we got that, and then what we'll do now, we'll need a couple of small potatoes, so about 150 grams to 200 grams maximum, no more than that. So what we'll do, we'll just have to peel them. We'll just get the potato peeler. So we'll just get these potatoes peeled. So you can see if you can find the little peeler. I'm not that keen on this one. Okay, so first potato ready. Attack the second. And then take it.
Might be in the other door. Ah, here it is.
also, obviously, the other ingredient they haven't mentioned, you need some fresh rosemary. So lovely this time of the year. There's, you know, here in the UK, there's plenty of rosemary in every garden. Everybody seems to have a rosemary bush in their garden, so you can just go for a walk and pinch a little bit of rosemary from one of the neighbours. Okay, so potatoes are peeled. Let me see how we're doing with time. See the time. Yeah, it's rested for much longer than 10 minutes. So this is the pizza dough that we prepared just now. So what we'll do, we just flatten it like this. And now what I'll do, I'll fold it. Will help you to will help the yeast to do its work. So I'll do top and bottom, and then I'll do this left and right like this. So like a little parcel. Turn it around. Just again make it into a nice little bowl like this. Okay, and I put it back in the bowl. So what we'll do next, we'll get some cling film. We'll put it over the top so that we stop the air from getting on the dough. And dry it. It needs to be obviously nice. And I don't know if you're having the same problem, but I always struggle with cling film. It seems to break, and it's difficult to take it out in one piece. I don't know. I don't want to watch me struggle with cling film. Okay, so I think I got just about enough. So what we do with this then, you need to put it in a place where it can be at 26, 28 degrees for about 2 hours, okay? So generally the best place is the oven, and I'm not going to put it in there because obviously we're going to need the oven to cook the pizza. But the best way of doing this is to put it in an oven that's obviously turned off, but with the light on, because a little bit of the heat generated by the light would create just about the right temperature in the oven for the dough to rise. Okay, so now let me just put this away. Wash my hands, and I will show you where we are. So what I'll do now, I'll clear my workspace. Let's get these things away.
On front of you.
Oh. Excellent.
Amen.
So the first thing we do, let's cut these potatoes very, very, very thin. So if you got a mandolin, that would be probably the best thing. Let me just get the first bit out. Okay, and then just cut it as thin as you can. Try to keep it kind of like the thickness consistent, because you don't want some bits to cook before others. So just make sure you slice it consistently. Make sure when you're cutting, if you're using a sharp knife like this one, make sure that the meaty part of your fingers is out of the way. So like just always lead with your nails. So if the knife hits you, it hits the nails rather than the flesh. Okay, that's the first one pretty much done. Let's do the second one. Same thing here. think I've got enough, just about enough for what I need to do. Okay, so the potatoes are ready, and we'll put them aside. And let's get the dough out. This is what I prepared earlier, so you can see how much it has risen now. Let me just, while we're doing this, let me just keep it. We want to start turning the oven on at 200 degrees, which would be about gas mark. I don't know if it is a gas mark. This is an electric oven, so I just put 200 at least perfectly. I think it would be a gas mark between 7 and 8. Okay, so it's turned on. What we'll be doing now, we'll be splitting this. We start working it to prepare the pizzas. So I'll have a little bit of flour at the ready. And I'll start putting a bit of flour on the work surface, so the dough doesn't stick. And I'll transfer the dough from the bowl to the work surface. Try to scrape as much of it as I can from the bowl. If you don't want this to stick to you, the other thing you can do as well is have a little bit of olive oil as well on your hands to help to the process. Which I think I might just do. Just a couple of drops of olive oil. Okay, so here I've got a little bit more than the quantities I have given you because I wanted to use it. I want to use it some for.
200 degrees is gas mark 5.6.
1.6. I mean, I think it depends. It depends on. Somebody said that 200 degrees is gas mark.
I've just looked it up on the
Oh,
internet.
Katrina, sorry. Katrina looked it up on the internet. It says 5.6. I mean, I don't know. I think it depends from the oven. Our oven goes up to 250. Our oven goes up to 250. I'm not sure what yours does. But just add a little bit more flour here on top. Okay. So this is a little bit more than the quantities I've given you because I wanted to put some pizza aside. So I will split it now. This is pretty much the quantity that I've given you. So we will cut this in split that in two. I'll put some back in the bowl for now. Actually, we'll prepare them all and then we'll put them back in the bowl. Okay, what we want to do now, we want to do the preparation, which is, you know what we did before about the folding? We just press it down a little bit. We fold it again. And then we will just, with the right hand, I'm pulling this towards me, and with the left hand, I pull it away from me. It's the procedure to make all the dough smooth. make sure when it's nice and you can see like it's all nice and smooth. And get ready to let it rest. You can see a nice ball of dough. Okay, carry on with the other. Do the same with the others. Now I'm trying to accelerate a little bit the process here because otherwise we'll be here all day. But at the end of each stage, you're supposed to let the dough rest. So generally, when you finish this process, you let the dough rest for another half an hour before you then are ready to make the pizzas. We let it rest for a few minutes, but we won't do the whole half an hour. Okay, second bowl. See, it's ready. We'll do the small one now. Oh, I forgot to actually fold that one. Let's do this for each one. Okay, and again, do the same thing. I was saying before about the temperature of the oven. Just please have a look at your own oven because they're all slightly different, especially when they got numbers rather than temperatures. So each make has got a slightly different scale. So make sure that you refer to your own oven for the correct temperature. Okay, so this is almost ready as well. You can see this one is ready as well. So what you generally do once you got your dough ready, you just cover it with a tea towel and you let it rest. And you will let it rest for, as I say, generally it will take half an hour. Today we just do some other work on the sauces, and we'll come back to this in a few minutes. Okay, so what we'll do now is what Katerina mentioned before. We're going to drain the tomato sauce.
Gone in straight away with it.
Okay.
I can't hear people talking.
Sorry, what's the question? You can hear people talking?
Oh, I can't hear people. I thought I could hear somebody talking, but maybe not.
Okay, that's fine. So we just take basically a sieve and put the tomatoes in there, and we just let it drain. If you can hear, there's quite a lot of water that's already draining at the bottom. So you can let it stand there for a few minutes. Every now and again we help the process along. You can see, if you want to have a look, you can see the water that's already draining from there. Now, if we use that without draining, and that goes onto the pizza, then obviously we make the pizza base very soggy. Okay, so now I am going to I've got my rosemary there ready. Rosemary is I've got some fresh rosemary that's just picked and washed and dried. So I've got a couple of containers here for the pizza. I'm going to use this one, square one for the potato pizza, and I'm going to use a little round one all the way to do the little one. I'm going to do like a white pizza base for the dessert. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'll just get some kitchen paper, put some olive oil in the bases, and I'll make sure it's nice and spread around, especially on the side so it doesn't stick. Okay, ready. I'll do the same with this one. And we'll do the thing a little bit once this is, so we get this going, and then we'll do the tomato pizza later, because we need a different temperature in the oven. Okay, let's go and then prepare the base for the pizza. I put some more flour on the working surface. Let's start with the little one. I just pat it down. Make sure that you stretch it, but without making it too thin in the middle. We want to achieve kind of a little bit of a crust on the outside, which is thicker than the rest of the pizza, but we don't want to stretch it too far. I'll put this in the little round one. So I'll carry on working a little bit. As you can see with Italian cooking, you do everything slowly. Okay, so there is no shortcut. Just make sure that you slowly stretch it, because you don't want to have parts that are really thin and parts that are really thick. And that's half of the success of the pizza, is how well you can stretch it. Sometimes if it's still too elastic, you might need to leave it for a few minutes and come back to it. Let's have a look. It's just about ready. So we'll just create a little bit of a crust on the outside. Okay, that's number one done. And now we'll take the bigger one for the potato pizza. Okay, a little bit of flour.
I don't bake, so I have no baking tins, and that's Rosalie. Wait a minute.
Okay, that's the question.
I don't bake, so I have no baking tins. Would a glass Pyrex dish work?
Rosalind, if you don't have any baking tins, then probably the best thing to do would be to use what's it called, the metal foil.
Oh, cling foil. No, so the
sorry. I can't think. Sorry, it just doesn't come. The foil.
Yeah, just foil.
Foil, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get one so I can see.
It's just foil.
Yeah, just use some kitchen foil. Okay, so you can lay instead of you can use it instead of the baking tin. So what you do the same process. So put some olive oil on the foil, so that it's ready, and just you make sure that you stretch your pizza. It's got a nice shape. It doesn't really matter. It don't have to be precise. It doesn't have to be round or square or any particular size. It's, pizzas come in all shapes and sizes. the important thing is that we do this bit well, because the pizza is only as nice as what you do when you're stretching. So do the same thing, just gently shape it into the shape that you want. I mean, if you want a round pizza, you just shape it into, you should just shape it into like a dish shaped shape. In this case, we're going to be putting it in here. So I'm trying to keep it to a rectangular shape. And in a moment, I will transfer it onto the tin. It's quite thick. So I'm ready to transfer it onto the tin. Okay. Okay, so we're pretty much there. Again, you just create a little bit of it's like a picture, isn't it? It's a little bit of a frame. It's actually in Italy, in Naples, they actually call it the frame or the pizza, because for them it's like a work of art. Pizza, so it has to have a nice big chunky crust when they prepare pizza. Okay, so we got the base ready. And now we'll get the potatoes, and we just start laying them, just so they are just overlap a little bit. I say, if by cutting you realize that there are some that are a lot thicker than the rest, then just maybe discard them, because you really want all the potatoes really to cook at the same time. I am just short, so I've got some potato bits left, so I'll cut some more. I'll do with a little thing, a little knife. Maybe easier for little jobs like this. Just get the right consistency.
Do you soak the potatoes? I don't know. That's from Catherine.
Catherine, okay. What's the question?
Do you soak the potatoes to remove some of the starch?
I don't soak the potatoes, actually. I just put them in as they are. So they just because we actually, in this case, we do want the starch, because it's going to give us this particular almost like creaminess. So what we do now, we just remove the rosemary leaves from the stalk, and just put them on top.
Let's say Vigie. Sorry if you already mentioned how many centimetres is the thickness of the base, please?
The thickness of the base, I wouldn't describe it in centimetres, maybe less than a centimetre, I would say, roughly. So, yeah, about maybe one centimetre, a little bit less than that, probably. I mean, as you can see, we especially, the way I do things, I normally I don't really follow strict recipes. This is probably one of the ones where you have to follow rules a little bit more, but I generally do things by eye. So I kind of, when it looks right, is right. I love rosemary, so and this is going to give this pizza a really lovely flavor. So feel free to put as much or as little as you like. Okay, so this is pretty much done. Okay, what we'll do now, I will now put some salt. This, and the last touch, the cook's touch, a little bit with my little pepper grinder. Okay, so these are all the ingredients you got in here. We got the pizza base, pizza dough, got potatoes, salt, pepper, and rosemary. I've been, if you know me by now, I've been trying to do everything kind of like in the easiest possible way, so that you get familiar with the process, and then when you get familiar with that, then you can experiment with different things. So I've been putting all this together because we'll be cooking at the right time. So we got the oven now warm on 200 degrees, and we want to put this at the lower part of the oven, okay, towards the bottom. And it will take about 25 minutes to cook. So let me check what time it is, so we know when to. Okay, so what we do is that we cook about 12 minutes at on the lower part of the oven, and then after 12 minutes we transfer it onto the middle round. Okay, let's go and have a look now at the tomatoes and see how they're doing. Okay, let's have a look at this now. See how much water has come out. So we don't really want that water onto our pizza. So I just want to make sure that most of the water is actually drained before I can start preparing the other pizza. To do the margherita we will need to. So we'll do the same. Once we're taking this out, we'll raise the temperature of the oven from 200 to 250. And we'll cook this pizza on the middle shelf. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with this at the moment. It smells really lovely as well, with all the herbs. And again, this is simple. So we haven't done any cooking here. It's just like a tin of chopped tomatoes. I just added 1 teaspoon of salt and 1 tablespoon of dried oregano, we say in Italy, or oregano, as we say here in the UK. Okay, so I'll just leave it there for a minute. And I'll show you the cheeses that I'll be using. Okay, I've been experimenting with cheese, obviously, because vegan cheese is something that it's now very popular, and new cheeses are coming out all the time. Obviously, there is still a way to go before vegan cheese tasted and has the same effect, the same what's it called, texture of normal cheese. But these are the best ones that are found to be used with pizza. This is one that this company is called Bute Island. It's a Scottish company, and they do this kind of mozzarella style grated cheese. I'll show you. It does look like mozzarella bits. It's very white, and it melts quite well. I mean, what I found with some of the vegan cheeses don't actually melt very well, and they kind of like cook and bake rather than melting. Or the other one that we can use as well which is this one. This company is actually quite good. They do quite a lot of good products called Violife, and this is kind of like it's a cheddar cheese imitation.
What's vegan cheese made from? Rosalind wants to know. So yeah.
Rosalind, what's vegan cheese made from? That is a good question. Normally, it involves coconut oil and another bits. I can read the ingredients: water, coconut oil, starch, salt, sunflower kernels, and some flavorings, and citric acid, etc., etc. But this is the biggest thing with vegan cheese has been actually the texture. So obviously it's getting closer to the way the normal cheese feels. But if you're not vegan and you are cooking this with the normal animal cheese, then you will use obviously mozzarella to prepare this cheese. What it's important if you use mozzarella, because mozzarella again has got lots of liquid in there, to do the same thing that we've done with the tomatoes. So if you're using mozzarella, what you do is just break it into, or cut it into little cubes, and then put it on a drainer to get rid of the water, because again we don't want that to make the dough too soggy. Okay. And the other thing that I always have a problem with here in the UK, even in most pizza restaurants, and I tell you what, all the ones that we've been to as well, like Zizi or Pizza Express or whatever. What's the other one that we go to? No, there are many restaurants, and they all make the same mistakes. Okay, which is they prepare the pizza, they put all the ingredients on top, and they put the pizza in the oven. Okay, what happens in that way is that the cheese that you put on top gets pretty much fried, because you don't really want, on a good pizza, you want the cheese on the top to be just melted. You don't want it to be cooked. So what we do in Italy instead, we put the pizza, we let it cook with all the other ingredients apart from the cheese. Then when it's almost ready, the last 3 or 4 minutes, we actually take the pizza out, we put the cheese on top, and we put it back in the oven. That way, when you serve, the cheese is just melted on top, and it doesn't really sit in the oven for sometimes 15, 20 minutes, just frying away and losing all its consistency. Okay, and let me just get the last ingredients ready, which will be used when that is done. I've got sorry, can I just check on the time? Just want to make sure that 3:59. Okay, another 5 minutes. Yeah. So this is the one that we're going to use for the dessert. So I've been using this Jim Jam's hazelnut spread, which is it's quite nice because they haven't used as much sugar as some of the other brands. This is like 83% less sugar, and it's not that far from what I grew up with, which is obviously you probably all know, which is Nutella. But Nutella is not a vegan product because obviously it's got like milk in it. But this one is really good. So we'll be using this, and then we'll be using some whipped cream that I just take out of the fridge. So you can look.
BJ likes the tip of that mozzarella.
Well, thank you, BJ. You said BJ likes the tip of that mozzarella. Okay, this is the cream that we prepared earlier, which is quite. I will show you. I want you to get a nice consistency. You want to be quite firm. Okay, so you want to whip it until it's it's nice and firm, and you possibly want to keep it in the fridge for a little while so it gets a little bit firmer. And this is the one I've used basically, which is kind of like a plant-based double cream. They do double and single, and it's pretty good. Pretty good, similar consistency, and you can use it for cooking or whipping. And I think what is this based on? This is based on chickpea cooking water. Okay, so put this away, and while we wait for this to be ready, we can start preparing maybe the pizza, the margherita. Okay, we just wait a few more minutes. Let me just check the time on this. 53 or 2, so it's another 2 minutes actually. Before we do anything else, we turn this. We turn this and put it in the middle shelf of the oven. Oh yes, sorry, that's Katrina was mentioning that we can talk about next week. Last week, I'll ask you, all those of you that came in the risotto, mushroom risotto class, who was asking, okay, what would you like for next week? And we had a vote, and it was pretty much almost half and half. So the pizza just won slightly, but the options were either pizza or aubergine dishes. So next week, as we have people that were interested in both, next week we'll be doing aubergine, and especially a very famous pasta sauce, which is pasta alla norma. Sorry, is there any problem?
Sorry, just missed that. I have Vigo. Did you add the chocolate spread at the Emlia? To the Emlia?
Okay, no. I haven't done anything yet. Okay, is it Uma?
Uma.
Hi, Uma. No, at the moment I'm just showing you what I'm using. The only thing we have done is I've got the cream and I have whipped the cream. Okay, so that's the only thing I've done at the moment. I haven't done anything with the chocolate spread now. We're just showing you what I'll be using. So we'll be waiting for the pizza to be ready because that goes on the pizza. Okay, and you want to be two separate things. You don't want to. You don't want to mix them.
She'd already whipped the cream, so says thanks.
Fantastic. Okay, so it's been 12 minutes now. So we'll be moving the pizza to the middle shelf of the oven. As you can see now, starting to rise. This is the white one.
You show the other one. I didn't show it.
And this is the potato one. Okay. So now we put it on the middle shelf, and what we do, we keep it on there for another. Let me just start the clock. We keep it on there for another 6 minutes, and the last 5-6 minutes, we turn the heat on from 200 to 250. And then, right at the end, the last say about 3 minutes, we'll turn it on the grill, so we can brown the top of the potatoes as well. Okay, so I was talking about next week. So next week we'll do another famous Italian pasta sauce, which is the pasta alla norma, which is a tomato and aubergine sauce, which is absolutely out of this world. So we'll be doing that, and we'll also be making caponata, which is another dish that you do with aubergines and olives, capers, tomatoes, and it's a really nice and rich vegetable dish, which is based on again on aubergines. And another one will be another surprise dish as well. So we're doing aubergines in three different ways. One with pasta, and two as kind of like just vegetable dishes. Okay, we'll be waiting for that to be ready. What we want to do that in the meantime, if you got your olive oil, you want to have it ready. And possibly it's easier if I'm using, we just want to go a couple of tablespoons of olive oil we'll be putting on the pizza. So I think I'll be using one of these containers, just makes it a little bit easier to drizzle on. So just literally 2 tablespoons of olive oil, extra virgin olive oil.
Rosaline's got another question. I know this should perhaps be obvious, but how do you whip the cream? I normally never eat cream. That's Rosaline.
Rosaline, I mean, you don't have to have cream if you don't want it. But if you whip, you use a whip. So,
or you can do it with 2 forks.
Something like that. Or you can do it with a couple of forks, Katerina was saying. And you just put it on a bowl till you get it from the fridge. You put it in a bowl and you start.
It's much easier with a whip, though.
With a whip is a lot easier. Obviously, you can do it with a couple of forks. You put it in the bowl and you start whipping. It takes, depends on how strong your arm is, but it would take quite a few minutes to do. And then when it's almost ready, when it starts becoming thick, I add some sugar. So I added for this quantity of cream, I added 2 tablespoons of sugar to my cream. Okay, so that you know. Obviously, if you're doing a smaller quantity, then regulate yourself accordingly. But you can do it literally by taste. Just taste it until it tastes really nice. It doesn't. It just has to be very slightly sweet. You don't want it like sickly sweet. Okay, because the chocolate is sweet already. So we don't want to overdo it. Okay, so we got this ready to go on the pizza. We just wait in a couple more minutes, and then we'll be turning the oven from 200 to excuse me, from 200 to 250, and turn it onto grill mode. Okay, excuse me. In the meantime, before there's a couple of minutes to wait. Are there any questions? What we've done so far, or any questions about anything? No, we're all happy. I've been a good teacher so far. You all followed along. Yeah. I just want to show you.
Very happy, Maria, to everybody.
Very happy. I just want to show you what's happening to the. I mean, this is not really at the right temperature either. But this is the one that I showed you how to prepare.
Christine is happy as well.
You can see how it's starting to rise.
Let me just show that.
It's starting to rise. It's already, I would say.
Just go close.
I would say it's about 1.5 maybe times the size it was before. What I might do actually, I might put it over here as there's a little bit of heat coming from the oven. You see, this is warmer. This is my process. And what you can do as well with pizza is that when you get to this stage, so when you got your pizza ready like this, you can put it in cling film or foil or whatever and freeze it. And it keeps really well in the freezer. And when you are ready to use it, you just take it out. You let it warm up until it's kind of like room temperature. So just keep it in the kitchen. And then you'll be ready to carry on as we have done now. So all this I have got now, because I already have the dough for my pizzas. All these extra doughs, I'll be doing exactly that.
The same with the yeast. Fresh yeast can be frozen.
Sorry, and also the yeast. If you're using live fresh yeast, that one can be frozen too, and use at a later date. Okay, so it's 6 minutes past now, so let me get my oven glove. So what we do, oh, this is almost, let me have a look. Let's see if the white one may almost be ready. Okay, what I'll do, just so that you know, before we carry on with potatoes, actually, I'll take this one and put it back put it back at the bottom on the bottom shelf because I don't want it to burn on top. But the base is not yet ready. So okay. So what I'll do, I'll turn this around because obviously at the back of the oven, as you can see, cooks a little bit more than at the front. Okay, and I'll sprinkle some olive oil. On the pizza, all over. Okay, and I'll turn this to 250, and I'll turn it into a grill mold. It goes back in. So, in the last 5 minutes, and then we'll be ready to taste the first pizza. Okay, so in the meantime, I can start the process of preparing this. So I will put a little bit more flour again. And we do what we did with the other ones. So first of all, we gently pat it down. We start turning it onto the shape that we want. I mean, if you are making a round pizza, then this is what you will do, and you keep a little bit. You can see here a little bit of the crust. It's going to be thicker than the rest of the pizza. And ideally, actually, if you have got a pizza stone, you can actually cook this directly on a pizza stone. The only thing is, what is really awkward is when you put all your ingredients on the pizza, it's very difficult to transfer the pizza on a very hot pizza stone. So you generally need a wooden shovel that you use like in a pizza restaurants to transfer this from obviously from the preparation area to the hot pizza stone. As I don't have I do have a pizza stone, but I don't have a pizza shovel. So I didn't attempt to use that because it would actually been quite dangerous, and probably I would have ended up burning myself. So I thought, well, I think I can cope with just using a tin rather than pizza stone. So what I'll be using the tin that I've just used for the potato pizza, and as there's only a couple of minutes left, I will open the oven to let some of the moisture escape. I can really smell it now. I can smell all the rosemary. Oh, it's really nice. It's one of my favorites. So I'm shaping this, as I was saying, I'm shaping this into like the rectangular tin. A little bit more, pinch more flour. And I want to keep a nice consistent thickness in the middle of the pizza. So just keep an eye on the time for the thing, and it's almost ready. Only about a minute left for the other pizza. It should be easy when you're doing this. It should be easy to work with. So it should be obviously elastic, but not too sticky. If it's sticky, you just add a little bit of flour on top, and then let it rest for a few minutes. Okay, let me just have a look at this beauty. And it looks just about ready. So, just quickly wash my hands. I think we're just about ready to take this out. So that's the number one, and that's the number two. Okay, what I'll be doing in a second, if we just can get my chopping board. Actually, I'll just turn it around that way, and I'll be taking this out. We can see this is nice and ready. Be careful not to touch the tin because it's very hot. So this is just about nice. Okay, so what we want to do, especially with this one, we want to let it cool. So we put it onto a plate. Now, because this is very hot and the plate is very cold, unless I put some paper on the bottom, there would be condensation forming. So I want to get some paper to absorb any moisture because I don't want the pizza to get soft. I want it to nice. You can see this is here is nice and crunchy at the top. Okay, and I'll take this one out as well. Just okay. So we can cut it and we can paste it in a minute. While at the same time, I'm going to be check if you want to see about now. It's fine. So while this cools down for a minute, okay. So we want to. Okay. Look at this. This is how it should look like. Hopefully, you have the similar results. Now, I'll just put this aside for a minute and put another little bit of olive oil in the tin. And I repeat the process of earlier on. So we'll make sure that the tin is nice and greased up. Okay. So that's ready. And we can now transfer this onto the tin. It's actually a bit bigger than the tin, but I can adjust it. Slightly reshape it once in here. Okay, let me show you on here, so it's probably easier. So what I want to do this side, you can see like a little frame. Okay, and make sure, just with the last check, that the whole is pretty much the same consistency, the same thickness in the center all the way around. Now, we'll take the tomato sauce. Excuse me. And just spread it. We will spread it on the base. Same thing. Okay, as you can see, this is quite thick, but it's good that we have lost. I'll show you in a minute how much water there was in those tomatoes. So what we'll do, all this nice. You don't have to use it all. Just do to your liking. You can use as much or as little as you want. The star of the show is the actual base. Okay, so as I said before, so we'll be putting this in the oven now, without anything else, without any cheese. The only thing that the only thing you can add if you want, which I mean we're doing the margherita, so we leave it like this. But I often like when I'm preparing a pizza, I do like to have a few mushrooms on it, and I think they add to the taste. But today we just do it simple, just with tomatoes. Okay, so this is ready to go on, to go in, and we'll have it. Just turn it down slightly. We have about 225, and I'll put this on the middle shelf directly. Okay, so while that is starting to cook, we can first of all taste a little bit of this, because this must be tasted nice and hot.
Timing it. Are you timing it?
Sorry? Oh yes, timing. That's a really good. Thank you, Katerina. Let me just put the timer for this one. Get a couple of plates. Oh, that's it. And let's cut a nice couple of slices. Let me show you a little bit thickness.
Did you turn the grill off, or is it still on?
Ah, that's a good point. Actually, no, it should be off. We're back on the normal.
Can you repeat that out loud?
Yes. Sorry. The question was, did you turn the grill off? Yes. That's what I forgot to do it. Thank you for reminding me. So it should just on normal oven, 225 degrees on the middle shelf. Okay. So. So let's taste it. This is really nice. So if yours has come out like mine, it's kind of like crunchy on the outside, kind of like soft in the middle, and the potatoes give a nice creaminess to the whole dish. This is so simple but so nice. So that's one thing. What we do now, we get the plain pizza. There's now cooled down a little bit. It's still a bit warm, but we can start working it. And we just use the chocolate spread, and quite happily spread it on the pizza. You can see a little slice of pizza disappearing in the background. So what's the comment from a cameraman?
Excellent.
Yeah, some excellent. We were quite hungry. Okay, so I like to be quite liberal with the chocolate on this. With a little bit of warmth in the pizza, the chocolate is also melting quite happily. and I will wait for this to cool down a bit more. Ideally, I would like to put it on a rack, actually. Let me just get the rack. Because as I was already, it's getting a little bit moist on the bottom of the plate. Now you can see what I was talking about. The plate is cold, and the pizza is hot, and there is moisture there because of condensation. So it's ideal you want to put it on a rack somewhere where it doesn't is not touching cold plate. Okay, and we'll wait for this to cool down some more until it's nice and cold before we add the cream. Otherwise, then the cream will kind of like melt into like a horrible mess. Okay, so once that is ready, we will be adding cream. Okay, this is just to show you. Look how much water the tomatoes generated. There's quite a lot there. You know, there's over about an inch of water at the bottom of this. It would be nice for a soup, and not so much. It wouldn't have been nice to go on the pizza. Okay. So while we're doing this, actually I'll be using a bit of this. I'll be using this one, which is got a nice creaminess, and I also use some of this kind of like cheddar imitation vegan cheese to cut a few chunks, a few little chunks of cheese to go on top. So I just cut some chunks that we can use in the pizza, not that many. That'll be enough, and the rest of it will be with that one. I'll put this away. I'll have another bite of this pizza because I'm really hungry. This is fine, it's cooking along nicely. I just turn it around simply because this on our oven, the back of the oven is a lot hotter than the front. So we want to try and cook both sides at the same time. Okay. So, any questions so far? There's a who's tried to cook the potato pizza at the same time as I did. Did it come out nice? Any responses? No, not yet. The other question I wanted to ask, because obviously I want to try and cook the things that we eat at home, but also, are there any favorite Italian dishes that you would like to see demonstrated and cooked?
Could they put it in the chat?
You can put it. Yeah, you can post it in the chat. So at least we can all see it, and then that maybe I can cook on one of the following weekends.
Does these pizzas or a low battery 20?
That's fine. Plenty there.
courgettes is one of them from Maria.
Courgettes, yeah.
And this is needs. After seeing these pizzas, there's no way we are eating somebody else's in our London social garden meetings.
We have some once a month we organise a meeting in Covent Garden. We generally the place where we have the meetings, they provide some pizzas, but obviously it won't be as nice as these.
That's from Mavis.
Thank you for the compliment, Mavis.
Somebody wants a proper tiramisu. That's from Carol.
Okay.
And Maria would like courgettes.
Okay. At the moment, the suggestions are courgettes and tiramisu. The courgettes are definitely on the one of the things I had in mind, because I love courgettes, and they make some lovely sauces as well for pasta. So that's one of the things I had in mind. As for the tiramisu, I love tiramisu as well, and I would love to show you how to prepare it. The only thing is, at the moment, I can't get the main ingredient, which is the vegan mascarpone. There are some companies that make a pretty good one, but I just can't get it at the moment. So possibly in the next few weeks, once all the shops reopen and things go back to a kind of like almost normality, we might be able to get it again. As soon as I can get it, I will show you how to make tiramisu. Okay, let's have a look at this now. Okay, this one has got a few more minutes, I think, to cook before we can add the other ingredients on top. You can see now it's starting to.
So like the heat will.
Thank you. Carol says thank you.
Okay, so we leave that for another 2 or 3 minutes, and then we'll add the cheese. We'll add a little bit of olive oil as we did before.
Avocados. Oh.
Avocados, I'm not really, it's not part of,
It's more French.
Sorry?
It's more French. Is it?
The avocados, I mean, the only way that I can show you a couple of ways that we do eat avocados. And especially, I don't know if any of you has ever heard of pinzimonio. Pinzimonio is a condiment that is used with a lot of raw vegetables, and is used with avocado as well. So one of these days I will, when I do a vegetable day, then I will include that as well, and can be used with avocado too. But apart from that, we don't really use avocado very much. At least I've never really used it growing up. A little bit, what they do in restaurants here, they do the tricolor salad with avocado, tomatoes, and mozzarella. But we never really had that at home. The only way we ate avocado was with olive oil, salt, and pepper as a thing. So you basically cut it in half. You have your half avocado. Once you've taken the stone out, in the place where the stone is, you put olive oil, salt, and pepper, and then mix it all together and you eat it that way. But I haven't really any other experience of cooking avocado, so I could do it for you, but it wouldn't be. You can probably find better recipes on the internet.
Spaghetti bolognese from Rosalind. She's not had it for years.
Spaghetti bolognese, obviously, with a vegan alternative, can be done with. There are some nice bean minces that can be used. There is one that I just actually bought. I'm going to try made with fava beans. So I'll try that first at home. If it comes out right, then it will be on the menu as well. Thank you for the suggestion. Okay, we are ready now to have the last bit of the cheese. There you are. There's the pizza. Yeah.
Fabulous.
Don't come too close because
We
otherwise.
heated last time.
So we put a little bit of olive oil, not too much. I think I've got too much here, but just a little bit. And I'll add a few chunks of cheese, just dot it around. And I'll add my grated mozzarella. Okay, that will do. And then the last touch, I will have a few basil leaves. That's not the finishing touch. You can also put a few right at the end when you take it out of the oven.
Another suggestion is vegan lasagna.
Oh, I'm sorry, but I do hate cooking lasagna. So, I'm not good with fresh pasta. So I might do it one day if you really force me, but it's not one of my favorite dishes. I mean, I like eating it, but not preparing it. Okay, so this goes back in for another few minutes. We can turn the heat now to 250 again for a few minutes. And when that is done, we can finish this off. Yeah, it's now back to normal temperature-wise. We still keep some there, and we finish it off with some.
Rosaline, haha, wasn't expecting that reply.
I know. We finish off with some nice dollops of fresh cream. Don't be too precise. It doesn't have to be smeared all over the place. I'd rather see it like this. That's it. Maybe a little bit in that corner looks a bit lonely.
Maybe in that corner.
Oh no, everybody's telling it. Oh, let's go on this corner. Let's go on the corner. There you are. That will do. So again, let's cut another slice of this. Just now, who's going to be the first one to taste this one? Have I got a volunteer? I will, in a moment, call Francesco as well.
I think so. Let him taste it first.
Shall I let him taste it first?
Yeah.
Okay. I got the first slice. Excuse me. Let's see. Okay, a little bit of tissue. Voila. Okay, plate. And I will call our official taster. Francesco.
That's really lovely.
Sì, perché dipende. This is official taster. Francesco. What do you think?
Very nice. Really, really. Even though we don't have Nutella, it's still.
That's yours to finish.
Is it?
So to finish off, yes.
No,
You can. You can
I'll
finish
take
it off.
it for that, really.
And the other one, you want to slice of this one as well, Francesco? Potato pizza?
Okay.
You know, I mean, he never says no. So it's easy. It's easy. As long as it's food, it's going down. Okay, I'll have another look at this.
That went down quickly.
This one.
Oh dear.
Okay, I think we are. Let me check on the timing.
I've got
On the other pizza. Katrina, you're going to need to come on the other side as well.
I will in a minute. Let's just get it all done and I will.
Okay, let me just say it'll be another minute for the pizza to be ready. And we got the margherita to taste in a second, okay? What
What are you looking for?
Pizza slice. No, there's
Might be in the other drawer.
Okay. There's the pizza slicer coming out to play. Okay, this is ready now, so we turn the oven off. And voila. And what we do, we add we just have a few leaves of fresh basil to give it the finishing touch, because it's also lovely with the tomato sauce. Now this is, by the way, this is Greek basil, and it's more of a different from the one you know. It's got very small leaves, but the flavor is the same. So keep shredding a few leaves here. Okay, and this will be ready to serve. So what I will do now, I will transfer this on you. We move this potato pizza from there to a plate. Okay, and we'll just see hot. And I will move this to the cutting board. Voila. That's all off. And let's cut into it. But you can see it's crunchy on the outside and soft on the inside. Now it would be wise to wait another minute before tasting this one because it's very hot. But it looks, I'm very happy with it. It looks just right, nice consistency. So I might brave it in a minute and have the first bite. I'll start maybe from the crust. This is nice. It still needs another minute to cool it down because it's still a bit too hot. But okay, so I hope that you got some good results. Anybody finished and taken their pizza out of the oven yet? Can I have a list one? Any feedback? No?
Christine, to me, this looks amazing. Wait a minute, what does it say? Next, I have to translate the flour type to the German system. And then Rosaline says it looks yummy. Okay,
Christine. I mean, it should be. It's generally, what I said, the bread flour is the bread flour, so it should be easy to find in the German food. Sometimes you find it referred to in Italian recipes as Manitoba flour. So some of it is this kind of like strong bread flour, and some of it is kind of like a soft flour that is used for everything else in Italy generally. It's used for making pasta, pizza, and everything else. So the very fine, soft one, and the bread one is hard to flour. But yeah, you can experiment with the thing, but the quantities of yeast, olive oil and everything, they're pretty much the same. Okay, but you can experiment with a few different mixes. Yeah, but do you want to come and get a side, Katrina? Okay, she couldn't resist. She couldn't resist the chocolate pizza.
I've been waiting for this one. I love chocolate. I'm addicted to chocolate. But my hand's been sneaking behind the scenes, tasting everything, and it really is delicious. Really, really nice. So You must make it. This one's particularly nice. It's my favourite. Yeah, I have to taste that one. I haven't tasted the tomato one, but I'm sure it's as nice as all the others.
It is nice. Yes, it
Yeah.
is lovely. It's lovely. So I hope you had a good time, and you have I really enjoyed it. Especially, I think making pizza is something that's really fun to do. If you have children, you can all get stuck in with your hands in the dough, and it's really good fun. It's a nice activity to do. Always, obviously, if you have children, be careful with them around the oven. But apart from that, it's something that's quite safe to do with your kids, and they'll have a well of a time if you do it with them. Okay, so
just check to see if there are any more chats.
Check it.
Bye bye, everybody.
Check to see if there are any questions in the background.
No.
No, everybody's happy. So I'll just wait for another minutes if there are any questions. Otherwise, I will bid you goodbye.
Maria, to everyone, looks fabulous.
Maria said it looks fabulous. Thank you, Maria.
Catherine says thank you.
Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you very much for sharing your knowledge. Oh, wait a minute, we go do some more chats. Thank you very much for sharing your knowledge. I really enjoyed your teamwork.
Oh, great. Thank you very much. What was that?
That was from Christine.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you very much. Very kind of you.
Christiane, sorry.
Christiane.
I've got the name wrong. Christiane.
Christiane, rather than Christine. Okay.
Christiane.
Thank you very much, Christiane. And
thank you. I am a new fan. That's Carol.
thank you, Carol. It's lovely to hear that.
And more nudie, thank you. Oh, it looks great. I'll be trying it later. That's from Munu Niti. Sorry that I can't pronounce that very well. But.
Okay, before I go, if I can ask you just, if you enjoyed yourself, I can ask for a little flavour. If you don't mind, I will email you all with the link to both the Facebook page and the YouTube channel. If you could, I would be really happy if you could subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you get informed every time there is a new video that I put on it. And also, if you could put a review on the Facebook page, that really makes me happy. And if you have prepared any of these dishes, I would love to see your photos.
Thank you. It says from Uma, thank you. I didn't realise I was making so much.
Okay, well, doesn't matter. If you've got pizza, you always have lots of friends. So you just need to knock on your neighbour's door.
10 degrees on the phone.
Okay. All right then. So thank you very much again, and I'll hope to see you again. See you all next week when we'll be delving into the world of the aubergine. Okay. For now, goodbye and see you soon.
Thank you from Sue to everyone.
Thank you, Sue. Thank you.